Right now at 5, a Pineville, Missouri woman faces additional charges in regards to the murder of an unborn child.
After some morning thunderstorms across the area, we are still dealing with excessive heat today. We'll talk about that in the forecast coming up.
And Tuesday marked PTSD Awareness Day. We'll have how veterans handle loud noises such as fireworks.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So some of you may have been awoken by or perhaps stayed up for the thunderstorms that we had through the overnight hours. The good news is, while we did have some severe thunderstorms in our area, they really began to die down, and that's great news because looking at storm reports from this complex last night, out to our west, 114-mile-an-hour wind gusts reported. So I think we're very grateful that it did not stay severe, but the one thing it did do for sure is bring us some much-needed rainfall. We still have our alert days officially kicking off today for the excessive heat. We're talking temperatures in the low to mid 100s. Heat index values could be pushing upwards of 110 across the area. And then we've still got some shower activity out there beginning to exit off to the east-southeast towards Springfield and Branson. We got some pop-up showers now taking place in parts of southeast Kansas, and that's going to be a possibility as we go through the morning and even into the afternoon. Some residual activity could develop, but we're not anticipating any strong or severe storms with any of that activity across the area. And you can see this complex as it rolled on through and again thankfully began to weaken when it got here. Unfortunately, what's not weakening is the heat's hold on the 4 states. We have heat advisories for southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma through 9 o'clock tonight, and then of course we've covered the different National Weather Service offices. So Bourbon, Crawford, and Cherokee counties in southeast Kansas and southwest Missouri goes until Friday at 7 o'clock. And again, that's because it is going to be downright hot out there. Right now, though, not hot, but that will change once the sun rises. 73 in Joplin. So got a south breeze gusting upwards of 22 out there as a residual side effect from this morning's storms. And temperatures not bad, but these are considerably milder than yesterday. If you recall, we were in the upper 50s, lower 60s in Fort Scott, Nevada, Iola yesterday morning, and even the morning before, not so much today. 74 in Fort Scott, 72 in Pittsburgh and Chanute, as well as Neodesha, 71 Parsons, Chitopa, 72 Miami and Neosho, and sitting at 73 Carthage and Lamar. Now, as we get our day started, once again, temperatures warming up quickly. Look at this. Late morning, 90 degrees by 11 o'clock, or at least right about there. And then we have the possibility for, again, a couple of stray pop-up showers. Shouldn't be much, but we'll keep an eye on it just in case, but should be fine. We'll head into the afternoon. We're going to go partly to mostly cloudy skies. Highs today, thankfully, not as hot as we were expecting, but only a couple of degrees off of what we were originally expecting. 99 out there. Our UV index still up there at the very high level at a 10. So that makes your burn time 20 minutes. You need to make sure that you are taking appropriate precautions out there as well and staying hydrated. As we head into the evening, not much relief. 96 at 8, 84 by 10. We're going to go partly cloudy, mild overnight, lows right around 75. There is some relief from the heat on its way. We'll take another full look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. The family of a Parsons area murder victim says the Neosho County District Attorney should not prosecute the suspect due to a conflict of interest. We brought you the story of Dakota Patton when he went missing back in April and when his body was found in early May. Clint and Kimberly Nyberger were arrested on May 8th for the murder of Patton and are now awaiting trial. On Tuesday, Dakota's family spoke out about how this case is proceeding, and the county prosecutor, Linus Thuston, who they say has no business leading this case.
Yeah, you know, Linus has represented Clint for sure multiple times. In the affidavit it says he represented him on a DUI, fleeing and eluding, open container. You know, Clint's paid Linus money before, you know, so, and when they found, or when they arrested Clint, Linus's contact number was in Clint's phone.
Prosecutor declined KOAM's request for a comment. Pineville, Missouri woman who was previously indicted for the kidnapping and murder of a pregnant Arkansas woman now faces an additional charge of killing the victim's unborn child. In November, 43-year-old Amber Waterman was accused of taking Ashley Bush from Maysville, Arkansas to Pineville because Waterman wanted to claim Bush's unborn child as her own. And the original indictment alleges the kidnapping resulted in Bush's death. Tuesday's superseding indictment also alleges in a new count that Amber Waterman caused the death of a child in utero. Authorities discovered the burned remains of the mother on Waterman's property. The baby was found with Amber Waterman and her husband, Jamie Waterman. The baby was later pronounced dead at the hospital. Both Watermans remain in custody. The indictment alleges that Jamie Waterman tried to help his wife hide the crime and elude authorities. Well, one of the two men accused in the death of a Dallas County, Missouri woman enters a guilty plea. On Tuesday, Timothy Norton pleaded guilty to first-degree murder for the 2021 murder of Cassidy Rainwater. A judge has now sentenced him to life in prison without parole. A judge earlier this year gave Norton's co-defendant, James Phelps, the same sentence after he entered an Alford plea to similar charges. Cassidy Rainwater was reported missing in 2021. FBI investigators say they received photos from an anonymous source showing Rainwater in a cage. Investigators later found photos of Rainwater on Phelps's phone and eventually discovered Rainwater's skeletal remains. Well, 3 family members of NASCAR driver Jimmie Johnson are dead in Oklahoma in what police say could be murder-suicide. Muskogee police say 68-year-old Terry Janway is suspected of shooting and killing her husband, 69-year-old Jack Janway, and their 11-year-old grandson, Dalton. The couple's daughter, Chandra Janway, is married to Jimmie Johnson. Police say Terry called 911 and reported a disturbance and someone with a gun. When officers arrived, they saw a person lying inside the front door. Then they heard gunshots from inside the house. They searched the home and found 2 more people dead inside. Police say they are investigating it as a murder-suicide. Tuesday marked Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Awareness Day. With the 4th of July around the corner, veterans who suffer from PTSD start getting anxious for the holiday. That happens because as the nation celebrates its independence with fireworks, some veterans are triggered by the sights, smells, and sounds.
You know, when people take a long string of fireworks and light them and throw them off, at a distance, that sounded to me as if we were going into a firefight. It's that muffled sound that will get louder as you get close to it, and that just agitates the heck out of me.
I go to my back bedroom, I turn the TV up as loud as I can, and that's where I stay the whole night.
For veterans coping with PTSD on the 4th of July, specialists recommend repeating simple reminders like, this is not a combat zone, as those can help reset the brain during PTSD, during a trigger. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, PSU looks to strengthen its softball program by signing 3 transfers to come to Gorilla Nation. Plus, the cost of groceries may be slightly down, but that does not mean your backyard barbecue won't take a lot out of your wallet this 4th of July. And if you have diabetes, you'll want to pay attention. We'll have how to manage your diabetes in this extreme heat. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Well, 13 months ago, Jacob Mizorowski was wearing a Crowder Rough Rider uniform. Fast forward ahead to current day, and he's competing in the MLB All-Star Futures game in Seattle. And this comes after Major League Baseball announced the 50-player roster. Featuring 25 of the best prospects from the American and National Leagues, Mizorowski is part of the Brewers organization after being selected by them in the second round of last year's MLB draft. With their High A affiliate, he's been lights out this season, starting 15 games with a sub-3 ERA and 66 strikeouts. The Futures game will be played in Seattle next Saturday, July the 8th, and features former major leaguers like Adrian Altre, Jamie Moyer, and Felix Hernandez as coaches. Well, the college softball season may be over, but recruiting never sleeps, and Pitt State head coach Jenny Fuller gives credence to that yesterday, by signing 3 transfers to the Gorillas. She hopes they'll be able to help the program continue its upward trajectory. The Gorillas took a big step forward in 2023, finishing with a winning record for the first time in 6 seasons, including an impressive 17-6 record at home. All three of the incoming transfers come to Pitt State via fellow Division II schools. Alina Rushing is a career .276 hitter after 2 seasons with Oklahoma Baptist. Sydney Swede brings a lot of experience. She's a fifth-year graduate player coming from Drury University in Springfield and has played in 123 career games for the Panthers with a .312 batting average. Pardon me. And Courtney Story transfers to Pitt State from Southern Arkansas after a stop at Crowder College as well. She batted .426 with the Rough Riders and was a 2-time All-Region performer. Meanwhile, we're at the midway point of the summer baseball season here in the 4 states. Both the Mink League teams from the 4-state area, squared off against each other in Joplin. The Griffins won that contest, and they plan to do it all over again. Mother Nature, though, had other plans, as we're aware. However, last night's game in Nevada postponed. The good news is these two were already scheduled to play each other today, so for convenience sake, the Outlaws and Griffins will just play a doubleheader in Nevada. Each game will be 7 innings, and the first end of it gets started at 5. Still to come, pizza in Pompeii. We're going to take you to a new piece of art found in the town that may show what pizza looked like back then. Plus, we got another check of that really hot forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:16 now on this Wednesday morning, halfway through the work week, and at the halfway mark starts the alert days mark as we have got some hot weather getting ready to roll through. We have alert days today through Friday. Temperatures looking to be right around the low, maybe even mid 100s out there, and heat index values easily pushing close to 110. We also had some thunderstorms overnight. Those of you who may have slept through it, maybe that's good sleeping weather for you, may not have noticed anything, but if you were awake, the good news is while they were severe initially, they did begin to wind down out there, and thankfully we didn't have to deal with some of the same situations they had out to our west with, I'm not making this up, 114-mile-an-hour wind gusts out to our west. So thankfully, this really settled down. And we do have some pop-up shower development back behind this, and this could continue through the morning and possibly into the early afternoon. Shouldn't be much out there, but we could see a couple of stray showers. The big thing we've got going on is the heat advisory. Southwest Missouri and parts of southeast Kansas, this goes until Friday at 7, and then for the rest of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, it runs until 9 o'clock tonight. Wouldn't be surprised if that one got extended because it's going to stay hot at least for the next few days. Right now, though, not too bad, but much warmer than where we have been the last couple of mornings. 73. South breeze at 13, gusting up to 22 still down in Joplin. And as we look around the region, again, much warmer than where we've been the last couple of days. 72 Neodesha, Chanute, 73 Independence, 71 Chatopa, 72 Miami, Neosho, 73 Carthage, Lamar, and sitting at 74 is one of the warm spots up there in Fort Scott. Now, as we get our morning started, we're going to be transitioning between partly to mostly cloudy skies through the majority of our day. Could see those pop-up showers here and there as we go through the late morning into the afternoon. But look at this, at 11 a.m., 90 degrees. I don't know if you want to see this, but I'm going to show you. All right, now we've seen it. 99, our expected high today. Again, partly to mostly cloudy skies. UV index is still up there as it's pushing right around the 10, which is still very high. Again, puts your burn time at about 20 minutes. Make sure you're taking precautions. And on top of protecting yourself from the sun with the heat, make sure you're staying hydrated out there as well. We are not getting any relief from the heat as we go through the evening. 96 at 8, 84 at 10. Going partly cloudy overnight, dropping back down to about 75. As we look to the week ahead, alert days again through Friday. Heat index values up there for sure. Little relief from the heat on Saturday. Some pop-up storms possible as we head into next week. That's going to be fluctuating a bit, but we're going to be back into the upper 90s right around the 4th of July. We got those pop-up storm chances. Again, don't cancel your plans. Just be prepared in case a stray shower occurs. Well, your 4th of July backyard barbecue should cost a little less this year thanks to falling food prices. And it's a welcome reprieve. We'll definitely take it. Prices, however, are only down slightly after last year's record high. Madeline Rivera reports from Washington.
This summer, things are taking a slight flip. After months of hot inflation, prices are cooling down. But some shoppers aren't exactly celebrating as July 4th weekend quickly approaches.
I can't really afford to go somewhere for the long weekend, or like hotel flights are really expensive. We're just staying in the DC area and just trying to have like a more low-key barbecue.
Even staying at home will be pricey. Hosting an Independence Day cookout for 10 people will cost about $67.73, down 3% from last year's record high, but up 14% from 2021. Prices for hamburger buns, ground beef, and potato salad will still scorch your wallet.
This drought across much of the West and Midwest has increased the cost of feed for cattle and reduced the overall number of cattle in the beef supply chain. And overall inflation is driving up the cost of processed foods like hamburger buns.
On the other hand, some items like potato chips and lemonade cost less, the latter the result of a drop in the price of lemons. And that's not the only sign of progress.
The cost of chicken breasts and eggs are both down as cases of highly pathogenic avian influenza have decreased and chicken populations are recovering.
Inflation is set to be a key campaign issue in 2024. President Biden is hoping the economy will be sizzling, but voters say they're just hoping for a holiday from high prices.
I feel like I'm saving less money, so I'm just confused about that. So I hope we get out of this soon.
That brings us to our question for you this morning. What are your plans for the 4th of July? Is it barbecuing, shooting off some fireworks, spending time with family and friends? Maybe you're working. Maybe it's some of those things. Maybe it's all of those things. Or maybe you're just planning to go home and sit in the recliner and relax. Well, regardless, we want to hear from you. Make sure you take time to vote through our website, through our app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. We will be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, whether they've been diagnosed or not, an estimated 37 million Americans have diabetes, and that's according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Summer can be especially hard on those with this disease. As health experts say, diabetes may cause a person to feel the heat differently than someone who does not suffer from it. Mandy Gaither talks to a doctor about how to manage diabetes as it gets hotter outside.
The temperature keeps climbing, and for the millions who suffer from diabetes, the heat is especially hazardous.
Your body sensation and how it metabolizes or interprets the heat, how it responds to heat, really differs in individuals with diabetes.
Dr. Jesse Bracamonte with Mayo Clinic says it's critical to check sugars frequently when it's hot outside. Soaring temperatures can cause episodes of low blood sugar.
If people have well-controlled sugars and they're active during the day, they may find that their sugars drop. Heat actually makes your metabolism speed up and you use a little bit more insulin, and then therefore that sugars may drop.
On the other hand, Bracamonte says the heat can also raise sugar levels if you get dehydrated. He says to drink plenty of water, limit alcohol, caffeine, and other sugary drinks which can lead to dehydration, and avoid going out during the hottest part of the day. When you are outside, dress appropriately with light-colored loose clothing.
Helps your body breathe and really helps to dissipate some of that extra heat that you normally would retain.
Since those with diabetes have to pay special attention to foot health to avoid potential nerve damage or sores, Bracamonte says to not walk outside barefooted this summer.
Heat and the cement and the temperature from the ambient walkway can cause severe damage to your feet and in some cases put you in the hospital. So appropriate footwear is key.
Well, the doctor says it's also critical that insulin and diabetes supplies like monitors and sensors not be kept in the heat. He says high temperatures can damage the medicine and the sensors. He says to follow the manufacturer's guide on how to properly store your medication and supplies. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Yeah, we're watching showers from this morning exiting on out of here and temperatures climbing rapidly behind them. We'll have another look at your forecast when we come back.
Good morning. I'm Tanya Bach with your KOAM News Update. Tuesday marked Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Awareness Day, and with the 4th of July around the corner, veterans who suffer from PTSD start getting anxious for the holiday. And that happens because as the nation celebrates its independence with fireworks, some veterans are triggered by the sights, smells, and sounds. A Joplin car dealership donates the gift of warmth. Frank Fletcher Subaru donated 70 blankets to the Freeman Cornell Bashore Cancer Institute for patients. The fluids used for chemotherapy are cold and can leave the body weak and unable to produce enough heat on its own. And officials say these blankets go a long way to making cancer treatment a little less uncomfortable.
We've got ourselves another hot one today. Alert days now through Friday for temperatures like this. High of 99 today, partly cloudy skies out there, putting our UV index up there once again at a 10, the very high range, making burn time about 20 minutes. So make sure you're taking precautions, staying hydrated. We got overnight lows tonight in the mid 70s, partly cloudy skies and still very hot going into our evening hours. We're talking low 100s as we wrap up this week. Some relief from the heat though Saturday as we see some pop-up storm chances and scattered showers for the 4th.
Right now at 5:30, the Carthage City Council votes to remove appointed members of the CWEP board, despite the public support that keep them on.
We had some morning thunderstorms across the area. Thankfully, no severe weather, at least in the eastern part. We also have very hot temperatures on the way. The latest on that coming up.
And do you need a place to beat the heat? The City of Joplin lists where you and your pets can go to cool down during this hot summer.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 5:29. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So we had those thunderstorms that rolled through this morning. We did have some severe weather in our western counties, but then these storms began to lose their energy, and that's a good thing because, as I've been mentioning this morning, they had wind gust reports up to 114 miles an hour further to our west. So I think we're all grateful that these things started to lose their intensity. They did bring some much needed rainfall. Unfortunately, it's also going to get very hot after that. That's why starting now we have alert days that go all the way through Friday, and that is for those temperatures pushing right at or slightly above 100 degrees out there. And we could have those heat index values going all the way up to 110 over the next few days. So here's that big batch of activity pushing well off to our east. And as you can see, it has weakened considerably. Just a few thunderstorms out there, nothing strong or severe. And then we've got a few showers back up here into parts of southeast Kansas. Nothing crazy, just a couple of pop-up showers. And those will be possible as we head through the morning and into the early afternoon. So there goes that activity. And behind it, it's leaving this. Heat advisories, parts of southeast Kansas, southwest Missouri, all the way through Friday at 7. And then for the rest of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, it goes until 9 o'clock tonight because it is going to be dangerously hot out there. This morning, milder than we have been, but not bad, still pleasant. 73 in Joplin, south breeze at 13, gusting up there to 22, starting to see some clearing out there. Temperatures around the region, 71 Pittsburgh, Parsons, 70 in Neodesha, 71 Miami, and 72 in Neosho. And as we get our morning started, well, those partly to mostly cloudy skies, pop-up shower too, but look at this, 90 by 11 this morning, so hot. Hotter yet as we head into the afternoon. Highs pushing 99, right around 100. Partly cloudy skies out there. And a quick reminder, our UV index is still at a 10, putting it very high. Burn time, about 20 minutes with exposure. Make sure you're taking precautions, not just for your skin, but for yourself as well by staying hydrated. We'll have more on your forecast and how the 4th of July is shaping up here in a few more minutes.
Thanks, Chris. The Carthage City Council votes to increase electric rates by an average of $18 per month. But it was apparently a different utility issue that drew more than 250 people to Tuesday's council meeting. The council decided to stick with a previous decision to remove the appointed members of the Carthage Water and Electric Board. The council had originally made the decision earlier this month after saying board members were not fulfilling their duties. And when the crowd was asked how many people wanted the board to stay, an overwhelming majority raised their hands. A lot of citizens attending last night's meeting were vocal in their support for the board. Still, the council voted 6-4 to stand by their decision.
I'm sure there are still people that are unhappy, and that's not a good thing. But we will continue to try to work through this and return to the being able to work together well, and I feel like we will do that.
A number of citizens left the meeting immediately after the vote. The council had previously said it would appoint new board members as soon as possible. Joplin city officials are urging residents to check on their family members, neighbors, friends, and pets as the heat index rises to dangerous levels. Public areas in the city will be open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. as potential cooling centers, and those are the Joplin Athletic Center, City Hall, Health Department, and the Public Safety Center. However, guidelines must be followed, such as staying within designated areas and respecting others' space. Officials say it's important to stay hydrated, dress appropriately, and minimize direct sun exposure during heat waves. And don't forget your pets. They want pet owners to ensure their pets have access to shade and cool water. The City of Joplin is asking for your help with a survey related to homelessness in the community. Any residents, business, or property owners are invited to participate in the online survey as the city gathers information about existing offerings and gaps in services for the homeless. Eventually, city leaders hope to use that information to develop plans for addressing the problem. You'll find a QR code linking you to the survey at KOAMnewsnow.com. That survey will be open through July 14th. Joplin grade schoolers and preschoolers will soon benefit from new vision screening equipment. The school district says a more than $12,000 grant will cover the cost of 2 new screeners used to test vision of students in Joplin early childhood and all district elementary schools. The district says its previous screening systems were old and in disrepair. The money comes from the Jean, Jack, and Mildred Lemons Charitable Trust Grant. A smaller grant will help fund new furniture and equipment for a lactation room at Soaring Heights Elementary. Well, we are hosting a flag swap today from 11 until 2 at an Arvest Bank in Joplin. It'll be at the location of 2023 East 32nd Street. All you have to do is bring your old tattered American flag to get a brand new American-made flag for free. The American Legion is assisting us in properly retiring those traded-in flags. And this is the second flag swap we're hosting. You can find information about the others at KOAMnewsnow.com/flag, and you'll get the chance to see our very own Chris Warner there today. On Tuesday, Joplin city officials gave residents details on a plan to build a new trail along Tin Cup Creek. Tin Cup Trail will be a pedestrian and bike trail connecting the St. John's Trail to the trails in McIndoe Park along Shoal Creek. It'll be more than a mile long. Construction will be broken into 2 phases, with phase 1 designed by city staff. Joplin-based engineering consultant Algier Martin and Associates will help with phase 2, which could include multiple creek crossings.
Everything goes well. Hopefully we'll start construction sometime this fall, and we're hoping to have done sometime by next spring or summer. So ultimately by sometime middle of the year next year, we'll hopefully have everything open and it'll be ready for use.
Grand Falls Trail is the next project to be finished to expand trail connection even more. Well, Joplin Car Dealership donates the gift of warmth. Frank Fletcher Subaru donated 70 blankets to the Freeman Cornell Bashore Cancer Institute for patients. The fluids used for chemotherapy are cold and can leave the body weak and unable to produce enough heat on its own. Officials say these blankets go a long way to making cancer treatment a little less uncomfortable.
Subaru's a good community servant, and so is Subaru. They're one of the best in the nation. They're one of the top 3 auto dealers who give back. And every year, this is the 8th year that we've given blankets to the Freeman cancer patients. They do this nationwide.
The Cancer Institute is located at Freeman Hospital West. This morning, we're discussing
celebrating the 4th of July. And this summer, things are taking a slight flip, especially with the food. After months of hot inflation, prices are cooling down, but some shoppers aren't exactly celebrating as July 4th weekend quickly approaches. Even staying at home could be pricey. Hosting an Independence Day cookout for 10 people will cost you about $67.73. I feel like that's low, but okay, $67.37 for 10 people.
Well, it's down 3% from last year's record high, but up 14% from 2021. I was going to say it.
Boo.
I've been to the store. Prices aren't that low.
We can't feed a family of 5 for that amount for a day. Okay, well, anyway.
Prices for hamburger buns, ground beef, and potato salad will still scorch your wallet. However, lemonade and potato chips are down this year.
Sounds like that's what we're having for the 4th of July, but that does bring us to our question for you kids. Do you hear that? Lemonade, potato chips. That's what we're getting.
Everything
Okay.
we're having comes straight from the garden.
Okay, see, there you go. You got it. I'm coming to your garden.
We just had to pay for the water to water it.
Oh, well, see, that's not too bad. Well, we want to know, though, what are your plans for the 4th of July? You have a number of options out there. 40% of you say that you're going to do some of the things on our list. 40% of you say you're going to do something that's not on our list. And then 20% of you say that you'd rather just sit in the recliner and relax. And I don't blame you on that. Well, make sure you take time to vote through our website, through our app, and of course, take part in discussion on our Facebook page.
Whatever you do, be sure to take care of your pets and keep them indoors.
Yeah, it's going to be hot on the 4th of July.
They do not like those sounds of fireworks.
No, they do not. They don't like thunderstorms in some cases either, so it's tough.
It's weird. Mine don't seem to mind.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right, but they don't like fireworks. That's for sure. All right, that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, a man in Tennessee is making a difference in his community, and all he does is ride on his scooter dressed up as music icons.
Plus, an artist's last masterpiece goes up on the auction block for some big bucks. We'll have the latest.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
We've got an alert day today through Friday for excessive heat. Temperatures pushing right around 100 degrees, or maybe just shy thereof, with partly cloudy skies out there. That does mean our UV index is still very high at a 10, and your burn time about 20 minutes. So make sure you're taking precautions and staying hydrated. Hot through the evening, mild overnight, mid-70s for our lows. Talking lower 100s through Friday, some relief Saturday, and more storms next week. Got an alert day today through Friday for excessive heat. Temperatures today right around 99, partly cloudy skies, and that puts our UV index up there again at a 10, which is very high. Burn time's about 20 minutes. Make sure you're taking precautions for the sun and for the heat by staying hydrated. Hot through the evening hours, partly cloudy overnight, and mild back into the mid-70s. Low 100s up through Friday, some relief Saturday, more showers next week.
Topping World Watch, Europe has a new record for the most expensive artwork ever sold at auction. Sotheby's says this painting by Gustav Klimt sold for more than $108 million on Tuesday. The London auction house says a buyer in Hong Kong won it after about 10 minutes of bidding. Sotheby's bills the painting as Klimt's last masterpiece and says it was in his studio when he died in 1918. The name of the painting in German translates to Lady with a Fan, and it features an unidentified female subject. Most of the Austrian artist's best-known works are from his earlier golden phase. A painting of some food items, including what appears to be a pizza, is discovered in Pompeii. The image is believed to be focaccia bread covered with fruit and spices, served on a silver plate next to a glass of wine. Archaeologists say, don't let the looks deceive you, as its appearance doesn't mean we should rewrite culinary history, since tomatoes and mozzarella were either unknown or did not exist when the fresco was painted some 2,000 years ago. The fresco was discovered in an area of the archaeological site previously excavated in the 1800s. Pompeii was destroyed by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. Officials in Italy are on the hunt for a tourist who defaced one of the most historic and beloved sites in the world, the Colosseum. A man carved Ivan and Haley, 23, into the nearly 2,000-year-old amphitheater. Italy's culture minister called the graffiti undignified and a sign of great incivility, and says he hoped the culprits will be identified and punished by law. Now, this isn't the first time a tourist carved something into the Colosseum. In 2014, a Russian tourist was fined $25,000 for engraving the letter K on a wall. In 2015, 2 American tourists also damaged a wall in the ancient building. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Coming up now, 5:46 on this Wednesday morning. We have made it halfway through the week, and usually that's a good reason to celebrate, but unfortunately the halfway mark starts our alert days for excessive heat, and that's not really a good reason to celebrate. It is going to get hot. Alert days today through Friday. Temperatures low to mid 100s in some cases possible, and heat index values could reach upwards of 110 degrees. On top of that, we're starting to wrap up after the overnight thunderstorms we had. Now, out to the west, some of these were severe as they initially rolled in, but they ran into a much more stable air mass across here and began to weaken, and I don't think anyone was complaining. They brought rain we needed, and they didn't bring 114-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And that is an actual honest report from our west when this system just got going earlier or late last night. Yeah, it got nasty out there, and we were pretty lucky here in the 4 states. We have a few isolated scattered showers across the region, but this is going to continue to just wind down. A few other stray showers, maybe even a rumble of thunder possible as we go through the morning, but we're not anticipating any additional strong or severe thunderstorms. What we are anticipating is this big orange color here on the map. These are heat advisories, which are no surprise given what our temperatures are going to be. Southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, these run until 9 o'clock tonight. I would not be surprised if we see them return tomorrow. And then Bourbon, Crawford, Cherokee counties in southeast Kansas and the rest of southwest Missouri, these run until 7 on Friday, anticipating how hot it's going to be. Our camera, 7th and Rangeline. Still have a few clouds out there, but we're starting to see a little more daylight, even though, you know, it's still cloudy. We're still pretty mild, but not bad. 73 in Joplin. South breeze at 13, gusting upwards of 22. And temperatures across the region, while they're not bad, they are considerably warmer than where we have been the last few mornings. We're at 72 Nevada, Fort Scott, Chanute, 70 in the Odyssey, 68 Yates Center, 72 Chatopa, Independence, 71 Miami, 72 in the Neosho, Monette. Lots of 72s out there, but generally across the area, upper 60s, lower 70s. But these temperatures are going to begin to soar as we go through the rest of our morning. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies through the morning. Again, a stray pop-up shower, maybe even a rumble of thunder out there. Nothing too widespread. But look at this, 11 a.m., 90 degrees is where we're going to be. If that gives you any clue as to how hot it's going to be today. We're looking at highs right around 99. Some of us may even reach 100 or slightly above. That's why we have the heat advisories. We'll go partly cloudy as we head into the afternoon. And then our UV index, a quick reminder, still at a 10. That's very high. And that means your burn time's about 20 minutes. You need to be taking precautions not just for your skin, but for yourselves by staying hydrated out there as well. We're looking at overnight lows in the mid-70s tonight, partly cloudy skies, so very mild. Temperatures low 100s. Maybe mid-100s all the way through Friday. Little relief on Saturday with some pop-up storm chances. Pop-up storms return next week, including the 4th of July. But because they're pop-up, don't cancel your plans. Just be prepared for a stray shower. Also be prepared for the heat. Temperatures mid to upper 90s. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
A Tennessee man is brightening up the lives of everyone in his neighborhood by riding his scooter while wearing colorful costumes. Each outfit dedicated to a musical icon. Forrest Sanders has his story.
In a neighborhood in Spring Hill, there are the sounds you come to expect on a summer day. And around here, this has also become a sound you expect. One man has all the neighbors talking.
He just kind of does his thing, man.
Every time he would come by, I would just start singing and you'd just dance a little bit.
I could not pull that off.
Yeah, I couldn't pull that off.
I couldn't pull it off, but he rocks it like a true rock star.
If the outfit looks familiar, well, it should. It's part of pop culture iconography.
I got an exact copy of Paul's Sgt. Pepper outfit, and I wear that one a lot.
So who is this guy, riding what he calls the magical mystery scooter? Well, he's a fan of bygone eras when vinyl was king, and proud owner of this beauty.
So we have a 58 Ford Fairlane Skyliner.
Meet Jonathan McHenry.
People would stop me and say, "Oh, you make my day. Seeing you makes it better." And I'm like, there's something about it that feels, you know, right.
Jonathan is a man of constant reinvention.
Let me see. You gotta have the Elton glasses. If you don't like Elton John, you're probably not doing it right.
On the magical mystery scooter, there's a whole lineup of music icons he plays, Elton in the famous Dodgers outfit, Freddie Mercury, Buddy Holly, David Bowie, the Ed Sullivan Show appearance of the Beatles. Pretty classic references.
Yeah, I know who they are.
For a 22-year-old video game designer.
I think he's got a great taste in music.
Thanks. Got Marty McFly here.
Jonathan's costume cosplay clothes rack is part custom made, part thrift shop finds, and practically all a lesson in music history for the kids in the neighborhood. Hey, you all know Elvis, right?
Yes. It's pretty much an exact copy of the suit from the Elvis movie.
You know the Beatles.
Yes. This is supposed to be John's.
How about Freddie Mercury?
No. No.
His like Wembley jacket.
Let me ask that again. Do you know Queen?
Oh, yeah! Oh, I love that guy.
There we go. So whether he's bringing some of that glam rock Elton style, or taking some prime new wave funk to the streets of Spring Hill, why is it that Jonathan does this? Well, it's simple. He loves it. And more importantly, the people around here love it too.
Sometimes you're just having one of those days.
And then I hear Jonathan, and I just get a lot happier.
And you just can't help but smile.
You know Jonathan's near when you hear that music, and you just stop and you wait for him to drive by. Everybody through here loves it. We embrace it.
Pretty cool to see somebody that joyful.
Yep, that's Jonathan, all right.
He loves to share this with other people, and that's all that matters. He's probably impacted a lot of people's lives that he probably can't even imagine.
The magical mystery scooter, a welcome part of the sounds of Spring Hill.
That's pretty neat. Teaching those kids music lessons too. Awesome. We'll be right back. Time for a big furry dose of cute to get you through the start of the week. It's a canine retirement community, a new home for old dogs. Call it a new leash on life, and that includes sick dogs, dogs with incontinence, dementia, and other ailments. Jane's Journey Home in Baraboo, Wisconsin opened its doors earlier this month. There are now 7 senior residents free to roam and enjoy this 36-acre property. They get medical care as well as plenty of freedom and space, very different from most shelters and rescues.
And we've got ourselves an alert day today as we've got hot conditions. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies, maybe a pop-up shower or two, and look at by 11 a.m. reaching 90 degrees. Highs today, 99. Some of us maybe even into the lower 100s. We'll go partly cloudy, and of course with that sunshine comes that very high UV index sitting still at a 10 for today. Burn time's about 20 minutes. Make sure you are taking precautions, not just to protect yourself from the sun, but you're also taking precautions for the heat by staying hydrated, taking breaks, staying in the shade where you can. Hot through the evening, 96 at 8, 84 by 10. Overnight lows mild in the mid-70s. We got the lower 100s, maybe even some mid-100s. Heat index values pushing close to 110 through Friday. Some relief Saturday with some pop-up storms, a little cooler Sunday. Hot again Monday and Tuesday with some pop-up storms on the 4th, but don't cancel your plans, just be prepared. We'll be back right after this.
Right now at 6, residents of Carthage can get ready to dig a little deeper into their wallets after the city announces an increase in electric rates.
And we've got increasing temperatures across the area today. Heat advisories kicking in, alert days through Friday. Talk about that forecast coming up.
And speaking of the heat, the city of Joplin opens cooling stations and wants to advise its residents to check on each other as the heat rises to potentially dangerous levels.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. Just after 6 a.m. on this Wednesday morning, halfway through the work week. Generally, we're celebrating Wednesday. We're like, all right, we've done it. We're here. Unfortunately, from the weather side of things, the halfway point of the week also indicates where our temperatures, as you mentioned, are going to be dangerously high. And that's why we do have alert days today through Friday. Temperatures starting to push into the 100s. Heat index values are going to be pushing close to 110 out there. We also have the showers and storms. They're out of here. They're done. Got a few scattered pop-up showers here and there, and that'll be the trend through the morning hours into the early afternoon. But after that, not going to have anything else out there. And boy, I tell you, it is going to be a hot one today. That's why we have heat advisory. Southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma through 9 tonight. I am sure they'll reappear tomorrow. And then we've got heat advisories, Bourbon, Crawford, Cherokee counties in southeast Kansas, rest of southwest Missouri through Friday at 7 o'clock in anticipation of how hot it's going to be. And I don't know if you want to know. If you haven't been watching in the first hour, you may not know. We're going to tell you, though. 72, Joplin. Getting a little more daylight out there, a little more clearing. We're northwest breeze at about 8. It's calmed down a bit from earlier. Temperatures around the region warmer than they have been, but not bad yet. 68 in Pittsburgh, 74 in Chanute, 71 Neodesha, Independence, Miami, 72 Parsons, Chatopa, Neosho, Carthage, Lamar, Nevada, Monette. That's 71 in Anderson and Cassville. Now, as we get our morning started, we have those mostly cloudy skies, some pop-up showers. Despite the clouds, look at this, 90 by 11 this morning. That's a precursor as just to how hot it's going to be today as highs push right around 99. Some of us could even get into the lower 100s today. We're going to start to see partly cloudy skies, and even though there's going to be a few clouds, still leaves our UV index up there at a 10, which is very high. We've been telling you the burn time's about 20 minutes. Make sure you've got hats, sunglasses, sunscreen, find shade, limit your time outside, and with the heat, make sure you're drinking plenty of fluids if you do have to be outdoors. We're going to be hot through the evening, 98 at 6, 96 by 8, 84 at 10. Overnight lows mid-70s under partly cloudy skies, so hot indeed. And that's how it's going to be through Friday. We're talking lower 100s, heat index values even today, pushing into the mid-100s, maybe even close to 110. A little relief on Saturday with some pop-up storms. Lower 90s, then we're going to heat back up as we head into the start of next week. Pop-up storms Monday, Tuesday. These are pop-up storms, so as we've been saying, don't cancel your 4th of July plans. Just be prepared for a stray shower or two. Otherwise, big thing you need to prepare for is the heat as temperatures next week return mid to upper 90s. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. The Carthage City Council votes to increase electric rates by an average of $18 per month, but it was apparently a different utility issue that drew more than 250 people to Tuesday's council meeting. The council decided to stick with a previous decision to remove the appointed members of the Carthage Water and Electric Board. The council had originally made the decision earlier this month after saying board members were not fulfilling their duties. And when the crowd was asked how many people wanted the board to stay, an overwhelming majority raised their hands. A lot of citizens attending last night's meeting were vocal in their support for the board. Still, the council voted 6-4 to stand by its decision.
I'm sure there are still people that are unhappy, and that's not a good thing. But we will continue to try to work through this and return to the being able to work together well, and I feel like we will do that.
A number of citizens left the meeting immediately after the vote. The council had previously said it would appoint new board members as soon as possible. Joplin grade schoolers and preschoolers will soon benefit from new vision screening equipment. The school district says a more than $12,000 grant will cover the cost of 2 new screeners used to test vision of students in Joplin early childhood and all district elementary schools. The district says its previous screening systems were old and in disrepair. The money comes from the Jean Jacques and Mildred Lemons Charitable Trust Grant, and a smaller grant will help fund new furniture and equipment for a lactation room at Soaring Heights Elementary. Joplin city officials urge residents to check on their family members, neighbors, friends, and pets as the heat index rises to dangerous levels. Public areas in the city will be open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. as potential cooling centers. The Joplin Athletic Center, City Hall, Health Department, and Public Safety Center will open. However, guidelines must be followed, such as staying within designated areas and respecting others' space. Officials say it's important to stay hydrated, dress appropriately, and minimize direct sun exposure during heat waves. And don't forget your pets. They want pet owners to ensure their pets have access to shade and cool water. City of Joplin is asking for your help with a survey related to homelessness in the community. Any residents, business, or property owners are invited to participate in the online survey as the city gathers information about existing offerings and gaps in services for the homeless. Eventually, city leaders hope to use that information to develop plans for addressing the problem. You'll find a QR code linking you to the survey at KOAMnewsnow.com. The survey will be open through July 14th. Traumatic events can lead to PTSD, and for those who suffer, anything can serve as a trigger, even a holiday. And with 4th of July just around the corner, veterans who suffer from PTSD start getting anxious for the holiday. And that happens because as the nation celebrates its independence with fireworks, some veterans are triggered by the sights, smells, and sounds.
The noise can bring back things, the explosions, the lighting of the candle, what blows up in the air, this stuff that reminds you of what you went through when you were there, and it just it's not something you really want to remember, or I don't.
For veterans coping with PTSD on the 4th of July, specialists recommend repeating simple reminders like saying, "This is not a combat zone," as those can help reset the brain during a PTSD trigger. We're hosting a flag swap today from 11 until 2 at Arvest Bank in Joplin. It'll be at the location at 2023 East 32nd Street. All you have to do is bring your old tattered American flag to get a brand new American-made flag for free. American Legion is assisting us in properly retiring those traded-in flags. This is the second flag swap that we are hosting, and you can find information about the others, KOAMnewsnow.com/flag. Joplin Car Dealership donates the gift of warmth. Frank Fletcher Subaru donated 70 blankets to the Freeman Cornell Bashore Cancer Institute for patients. Fluids used for chemotherapy are cold and can leave the body weak and unable to produce enough heat on its own. Officials say these blankets go a long way to making cancer treatment a little less uncomfortable.
Typically in hospital environments and clinic environments, it can be very cold and very uncomfortable. And so to get to have a blanket to offer to a patient who's already going through a very difficult time in their lives is just priceless.
Cancer Institute is located at Freeman Hospital West. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the United States Supreme Court heads into the home stretch for its 2023 term with a few big cases left on the docket, including states' election rights. Plus, the U.S. experiences its first locally acquired cases of malaria in 20 years. We'll have the latest. And Chris returns with another look at a dangerously hot forecast for the 4 states. If you have to go outside, please be careful and mind the heat. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch this morning, Rudy Giuliani has been interviewed by the special counsel over former President Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. Sources say the meeting between Giuliani, his attorney, and federal investigators took place in recent weeks. The sources declined to say what investigators' questions focused on during the meeting, which has not been previously reported. The interview with Giuliani comes amid a flurry of activity in the probe, which is examining a plan from Trump and his allies to put forth fake electors, as well as potential financial crimes related to post-election fundraising. Well, the man suspected of killing 4 University of Idaho students appeared before a judge on Tuesday. The defense team for Brian Kohberger wants the state to hand over more detailed information, particularly about how investigators came to target him as a suspect. The judge said he will issue a written order on the information at a later date. This comes after the state announced they will be seeking the death penalty against Kohberger on Monday. In a closely watched case, the Supreme Court rules against giving state lawmakers unlimited power over federal elections. The nation's highest court handed down that decision on Tuesday, but has yet to rule on some of the other big cases this term. Natalie Brand looks at what the justices had to say about elections and the decisions still ahead.
In a victory for voting rights advocates, the Supreme Court rejected a controversial legal theory that would have given state lawmakers largely free rein over federal elections. Republican lawmakers in North Carolina had pushed for the so-called independent state legislative theory, arguing they could set the rules for elections, including drawing districts, without oversight from the court. But the justices, in a 6-3 decision, disagreed, with Chief Justice John Roberts writing, "The Constitution's Elections Clause does not insulate state legislatures from the ordinary exercise of state judicial review."
We're going to continue to have that check, meaning other players have a role here. Secretaries of state, election administration officials, even state governors, state courts, and then also on top of all of that, the federal courts.
We're still waiting for decisions on some of the biggest cases of the term involving student loan forgiveness and affirmative action.
Hey, folks.
The justices are weighing the fate of President Biden's student loan forgiveness program, which would relieve debt for around 43 million people. Republican attorneys general in 6 states challenged the program, arguing in part that the administration has overstepped its authority. The High Court is also considering the future of affirmative action in cases that could reshape the college admissions process. Before the court are lawsuits against Harvard University and the University of North Carolina, alleging the school's race-conscious admissions policies discriminated against Asian American applicants. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
Another case before the court involves a Colorado web designer who refuses to build websites for same-sex couples. Well, there's a new way to cruise the Las Vegas Strip, driver not required. A company called Zoox says its robo-taxi is now operating in Sin City. Zoox says service started Friday, making it the first time, quote, a fully driverless, purpose-built robo-taxi, end quote, has hit public roads in Nevada. The vehicle does not have a steering wheel or pedals. The company had to complete rigorous testing and get authorization from the Department of Motor Vehicles before it could begin operations. I might pass. That's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got ourselves alert days today through Friday for dangerous heat across the 4 states. We'll talk about how hot it's going to get and how the 4th of July is shaping up when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 6:18 now on this Wednesday morning, halfway through the work week, and we're also kicking off some extreme heat out there. We have alert days today through Friday. Temperatures starting to push into the 100-degree range. Heat index values even today could be pushing mid-upper 100s, close to 110 degrees out there. All right, Skywatch Storm Tracker. All we're left with now is a few isolated pop-up showers here and there. That is after thunderstorms rolled through this morning. Going back about 3 hours, you can see the last of that complex moving on out of here. Now, these storms were severe when they first moved into the area, but thankfully they entered a much more stable air mass and began to lose some of that strength. And that's a great thing because we've been talking about this morning out west. We're not kidding here. Wind gusts 114 miles an hour, and that is the last thing we need with thunderstorm activity. We just need the rain, and we got some, thankfully. All right, heat advisories. Bourbon, Crawford, Cherokee County, southeast Kansas, rest of southwest Missouri. These run until Friday at 7. For the rest of southeast Kansas and into northeastern Oklahoma, these run until 9 tonight, but it would not be surprising if they are reissued tomorrow. Our camera, 7th and range line. We've got some blue sky. We've got some clouds. We call that mostly cloudy. We're sitting at 72. Wind has calmed down, now northwest at about 8 miles an hour. Temperatures around the region, not bad, but much warmer than where they have been. We're sitting at 69, Yates Center, Iola, 73 in Fort Scott, 68 in Pittsburgh, 72 Parsons, Chautauqua, 71 in Miami, 72s in Neosho, Carthage, Lamar, Nevada, Monette, and we're sitting at 71 in Anderson. As we get our morning started, it'll be mostly cloudy, still a few isolated showers out there. But look at this, 11 a.m., 90 degrees by 11, ahead of a high today, right around 99 degrees. So a pinch cooler than what we were thinking for today, but not by much. And some of us, especially out west, may actually reach the lower 100s today. We'll be partly cloudy as we head into the afternoon. We're going to be hot as we head into the evening as well. And with the sunshine, UV index is a big thing this time of year. It's sitting at a 10. It's very high. Puts your burn time at about 20 minutes. So make sure you're taking precautions, not just for your skin, but for yourself by staying hydrated with this heat and humidity out there today. Look at this, 98 at 6, 96 by 8, and 84 at 10 o'clock tonight. It's going to be toasty for sure. Partly cloudy skies, partly cloudy overnight, mild mid-70s for our overnight lows. And it just continues to heat up at least through Friday. Look at this, 103 tomorrow, heat index around 109. 102 Friday, heat index of about 106. Really, truly, seriously, if you don't have to be outdoors for an extended period, don't be, because this is dangerous heat out there. As we head into Saturday, though, little relief. We drop back into the lower 90s. Some pop-up storms could carry on into the evening hours for some of us out there. Low 90s on Sunday. Then we head into next week. And we kick off the week on a very hot note. Temperatures mid-upper 90s. But as you can see, we have these pop-up thunderstorm chances. Now, these are going to be scattered throughout the rest of the week. So don't cancel your 4th of July plans by any means, but do be prepared for a stray shower or two. But the biggest thing you need to be prepared for on the 4th is the fact that it's going to be very hot once again. So just be prepared for that. Make sure you're taking precautions today, and make sure you're taking precautions next week. Let's check your forecast. We will be back with Health Watch right after this.
Tapping Health Watch this morning, children who read have better mental health and perform better at cognitive tests, according to a study published in the journal Psychological Medicine. Researchers looked at 10,000 kids in the U.S. Those who begin reading for pleasure between 2 and 9 years old measure higher for verbal learning, memory, and other skills, and show fewer signs of depression and behavioral problems. The study found 12 hours of reading a week was the optimal amount. Well, the experience of drinking coffee may be more effective at waking you up than the actual caffeine in that cup of joe. A scientist in Portugal took MRI scans of study participants before and after their coffee and found increased brain activity compared to those who only took caffeine. Both make people alert, but the cup of coffee does a better job at increasing goal-directed behavior. People with OCD have an imbalance between neurochemicals in the parts of the brain key to decision-making and habit. Neuroscientists at the University of Cambridge say it's a major piece of the puzzle in understanding obsessive-compulsive disorder and hope the findings will lead to new treatments. 5 cases of malaria have been confirmed in Florida and Texas, the first time the potentially fatal mosquito-borne disease has been locally acquired in the United States in 20 years. That's according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The 4 Florida cases, along with 1 in Texas, have been diagnosed over a period of 2 months, according to the agency.
So it's a concern because malaria is a life-threatening disease. It's not often seen in the United States, and we hadn't seen it domestically acquired in over 20 years.
The state of Florida said its first case was diagnosed May 26th in Sarasota County, while officials in Texas say on June 23rd, a Texas resident who worked outdoors in Cameron County had been diagnosed with the disease. New York City adds a new requirement for its public schools focused on improving students' mental health. Mayor Eric Adams says children and teens will now have to do 2 to 5 minutes of, quote, mindful breathing practices at school. Mindful breathing is a technique where they focus on how they inhale and exhale, usually as a part of meditation. The new mandate is for students from pre-kindergarten through grade 12. The city is hoping the program will help improve the students' physical and mental health. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
We are watching the remnants of our overnight storms roll on out of here, leaving us with a few stray showers. We're also tracking that dangerous heat that starts today. We'll have another full look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Right now at 6:30, new charges come down in the case of a Pineville, Missouri woman who kidnapped and killed an Arkansas woman.
And we are done with these thunderstorms. A few stray showers still out there. What we're dealing with now is the excessive heat. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
The family of a murdered Kansas man speaks out regarding the legal proceedings and their concerns over the role of the prosecutor. KOAM's Anthony Saviello brings us the latest.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So we had ourselves some overnight thunderstorms. Thankfully, while some were severe when they first got here, they began to calm down and they just brought us some much needed rainfall and an impressive light show. We were watching on the Joplin Tower Cam. It's just absolutely incredible with some of that lightning. However, what's going to be left in its wake is some dangerous heat, and that's why starting today through Friday we have alert days for temperatures going in the low to mid 100s in some locations. We could also see heat index values pushing 110 this week or through the end of this week as well. Skywatch Storm Tracker, stray shower, stray shower, stray shower, some stray showers. That's all we've got left after that thunderstorm complex rolled through this morning. We just have a few of these stray showers, and they could continue through the morning hours and into the early afternoon before they clear on out of here and then just leave us with these hot conditions. So again, Bourbon, Crawford, Cherokee counties and the rest of southwest Missouri in for heat advisories through 7, and then the rest of southeast Kansas and into northeast Oklahoma, heat advisories through 9 tonight, but again, wouldn't be surprised if they are reissued tomorrow. Our camera at 7th and Range Line, take a look at that sky. We've got what we call mostly cloudy skies out there, but we are starting to see a little more sunlight. 72 in Joplin, northwest breeze at about 8 miles an hour. But you notice that the humidity and dew point are still up there. That's why we've got heat index values today through Friday. Going to be pushing around 110 in some cases, so we need to be very careful out there. 74 in Chanute, 70 Iola, 68 Pittsburgh, 73 Chetopa, 72 Miami, 71 Neosho, Lamar, and 72 Carthage and Monette. Now, as we get our morning started, we're going to be mostly cloudy. Again, a few of those isolated showers possible, but look at this, pushing 90 by 11 this morning. That's ahead of a high today, right around 99 degrees. Now, some of us out west could even push into the lower 100s this afternoon. We'll go partly cloudy as we go into the afternoon, hot as we head into the evening as well, and our UV index still up there, 10, very high. Burn time, if you're out there, about 20 minutes. So make sure you're taking precautions for your skin and for yourself by staying hydrated in this heat if you do have to be outdoors. And what I mean by hot through the evening, I mean this, 98 at 6 o'clock, 96 by 8, 84 by 10, partly cloudy overnight, mild, lows into the mid-70s. We'll have another look at your forecast and how the 4th of July is shaping up here in just a couple more minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. A Pineville, Missouri woman who was previously indicted for the kidnapping and murder of a pregnant Arkansas woman now faces an additional charge of killing the victim's unborn child. In November, 43-year-old Amber Waterman was accused of taking Ashley Bush from Maysville, Arkansas to Pineville because Waterman wanted to claim Bush's unborn child as her own. Now, the original indictment alleges the kidnapping resulted in Bush's death. Tuesday's superseding indictment also alleges in a new count that Amber Waterman caused the death of a child in utero. Authorities discovered the burned remains of the mother on Waterman's property. The baby was found with Amber Waterman and her husband, Jamie Waterman. The baby was later pronounced dead at the hospital. Both Watermans remain in custody. The indictment alleges Jamie Waterman tried to help his wife hide the crime and elude authorities. One of 2 men accused in the death of a Dallas County, Missouri woman enters a guilty plea. On Tuesday, Timothy Norton pleaded guilty to first-degree murder for the 2021 murder of Cassidy Rainwater. A judge has now sentenced him to life in prison without parole. A judge earlier this year gave Norton's co-defendant, James Phelps, the same sentence after he entered an Alford plea to similar charges. Cassidy Rainwater was reported missing in 2021. FBI investigators say they received photos from an anonymous source showing Rainwater in a cage. Investigators later found photos of Rainwater on Phelps's phone and eventually discovered Rainwater's skeletal remains. 3 family members of NASCAR driver Jimmy Johnson are dead in Oklahoma in what police say could be a murder-suicide. Muskogee police say 68-year-old Terry Janway is suspected of shooting and killing her husband, 69-year-old Jack Janway, and their 11-year-old grandson, Dalton. The couple's daughter, Chandra Janway, is married to Jimmy Johnson. Police say Terry called 911 and reported a disturbance and someone with a gun. When officers arrived, they saw a person lying inside the front door. And then they heard gunshots from inside the house. They searched the home and found 2 more people dead inside. Police say they are investigating it as a murder-suicide. The family of a Southeast Kansas murder victim is speaking out about the proceedings in the case and their concerns about the prosecutor Linus Thuston. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has the story.
On May 8th, investigators arrested Clint and Kimberly Nybarger in the case of the murder of Dakota Patton. The case is now working its way through the court system. However, Patton's family says the man in charge of prosecuting the suspects has a conflict of interest.
Well, he doesn't need to be prosecuting this case. He was in touch with Clint the night that Clint murdered my son.
Dakota went missing in April, and his body was later found in early May in the fields near 20th and Xavier Road here in Neosho County. According to an affidavit filed in the Allen County Court, Thuston was in contact with Finis Garduno, the man who reportedly turned in accused killer Clint Nybarger. Thuston had not only represented Garduno at one point, but Nybarger as well. Patton's mother and the affidavit call into question Thuston's ability to prosecute this case fairly.
Yeah, you know, Linus has represented Clint for sure multiple times. In the affidavit it says he represented him on a DUI, fleeing and eluding, open container. You know, Clint's paid Linus money before, you know, so, and when they arrested Clint, Linus's contact number was in Clint's phone.
A judge has reviewed the affidavit regarding Thuston acting as prosecutor. The court gave Thuston 14 days from the unsealing of the affidavit to respond. Reporting in Neosho County, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
We've reached out to Thuston's office for comment and have not yet received a response. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Joplin city officials gave residents details on a plan to build a new trail along Tin Cup Creek. The Tin Cup Trail will be a pedestrian and bike trail connecting the St. John's Trail to the trails in McIndoe Park along Shoal Creek. It'll be more than a mile long. Construction will be broken into 2 phases, with phase 1 designed by city staff. And Joplin-based engineering consultant Algier Martin and Associates will help with phase 2, which could include multiple creek crossings.
So ultimately it serves to connect. We have the Mahaska Trail, connects to St. John's Trail, and ultimately it'll tie into this Tin Cup Trail, which will then tie in down at McIndoe Park. So basically it's kind of a bridge between existing trail systems, and it'll be a really nice trail system along Tin Cup Creek. Just be really scenic, kind of walk through the woods, down through.
Grand Falls Trail is the next project to be finished to expand trail connection even more. And that's a look at today's top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, some travelers on the East Coast head into the holiday weekend, and they get to experience an old familiar headache. Travel delays at the airport.
And we are going to start to dry out as we head into the afternoon. We're also going to heat up to dangerous levels. We'll talk about that forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
In Consumer Watch this morning, Ford is moving ahead with layoffs this week, slashing hundreds of engineering jobs in the U.S. and Canada as the company pivots its focus to electric vehicles. This comes as Volvo became the latest car company to announce it will convert its EVs to Tesla's North American Charging Standard port starting in 2025. Ford, General Motors, and Rivian have also announced plans to convert to Tesla's Standard, which will give owners access to Tesla's charging network across North America. New York pizza lovers are crying foul over New York City's environmental protection regulations. New York City Department of Environmental Protection wants to crack down on carbon emissions from coal and wood-fired pizza ovens. If their regulations are implemented, they would impose tight restrictions on pizzerias across the city. Pizzerias with ovens installed before 2016 would be required to buy emission control devices to reduce total emissions by 75%. City health officials say wood and coal-fired stoves are among the largest contributors of harmful pollutants in neighborhoods with poor air quality. And some iconic props like Harry Potter's cloak and glasses from the Chamber of Secrets film and Princess Leia's ceremonial white gown from Star Wars Episode 4 are now up for grabs. They're part of a 1,400-piece collection of film and TV memorabilia that are up for auction. The auction, run by Prop Store, starts today at LA's Peterson Automotive Museum and lasts through Friday. Cool. Passengers at airports throughout the Northeast are going nowhere, stuck waiting for bad weather to clear up and operations to return to normal. The long lines are reminiscent of last year's repeated issues with air travel, but data from the Federal Aviation Agency shows cancellations are trending lower. Still, travel experts say there's little to no recourse for stranded flyers.
If your flight is canceled or delayed due to weather, there's not much that the airlines are responsible for doing for you. It is an extraordinary circumstance. Weather is typically not covered in terms of flight refunds, waived fees, those kinds of things.
CEO of United Airlines blamed the FAA for some of the cancellations this weekend. The agency has been facing a shortage of air traffic controllers in recent months. FAA fired back saying, quote, "We will always collaborate with anyone seriously willing to join us to solve a problem." AAA projects a record 4.17 million Americans will fly this 4th of July weekend, an 11% increase over last year. We'll have more on this recent round of flight delays. The KOAM Morning News switches over to Fox 14 at 7. That's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got those alert days kicking in today through Friday for dangerous heat. We're talking temperatures at or very close to the 100s. Heat index values pushing 110. We're going to have a lot more on your complete forecast when the KOAM Morning News comes back. We're also going to be celebrating birthdays and anniversaries right after the break. But before we do any of that, why don't we go ahead and take a look at what's happening on CBS Mornings.
Hello to you, I'm Gail King. Coming right up on CBS Mornings, the CEO of Anheuser-Busch, Brendan Whitworth is his name, will be with us in the studio to talk about the recent controversy surrounding their popular beer, Bud Light. That's coming right up on CBS Mornings.
All right, time for some Wednesday birthdays here in the 4 states. And we are going to begin in Pittsburgh with Ayla K. Ridenour, celebrating number 4 with love from Oma, Pop Pop, and the family.
Brindley High School turning 10 years old this year in Stockton, Missouri. There's a note here from your family. Can't quite decipher it. Can you do that, Chris?
I do not know what that is.
Okay, well, your family wishes you love, Brindley. We do know that.
I think I might have figured it out. I think it's Love You, Brindley.
Oh.
That might be it. I'm not sure.
LYB.
Yeah. All right. Well, we also have Audrey Whitlow celebrating number 22. Love coming from your mama. Happy birthday, Audrey.
Okay, Brennan Burns turning 27 years old this year in Joplin. Happy birthday, love, Grandma and Grandpa.
And Jessica Anderson celebrating birthday number 30 in Oswego. And Jessica is getting married next month. Happy birthday.
Out in Liberal, Missouri, Chris Warren celebrating birthday number 39 this year.
And in Columbus, we've got Matt Plummer celebrating another year wiser. Happy birthday, Matt.
Ross Westerfelt also in the bus celebrating a birthday. Hope it's a great one, Ross.
And we've got John Roy Pesavento celebrating number 80 over in Chicopee. Happy birthday to you.
Keep on riding. Jim Cook turning 81 years old this year. Great picture there of Jim. Hope you have a great birthday.
And we've got Caleb and Rachel Morgan celebrating their 9th wedding anniversary this year. A very happy anniversary to the Morgans.
And it's 36 years of wedded bliss for the Thorntons in Thayer, Kansas. Congrats going out to Bruce and Tanya Thornton. Happy 36th anniversary.
And we've got another anniversary in Columbus. Ken and Helen Kelly celebrating their 56th. A very happy anniversary to you.
In Altamont, Kansas, Glenn Cunningham. Happy birthday.
And Linda Purdy celebrating a birthday over in Erie. Happy birthday, Linda.
Heather and Shane Schuberberger are celebrating their 20th anniversary. They're in Columbus.
And in McCune, we've got Bonnie Merritt celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday, Bonnie.
All right. And Bill Wells We got you on our list today, too. Sorry we said your age wrong the other day. You are 96 years old. Happy birthday, Bill, in Crestline.
All right, that was a great list. Here's the only problem, though. You see this page right in front of you? That is one too many birthdays and anniversaries without any pictures. And we want pictures of birthdays and anniversaries. Tanya, where do they need to send them?
All you have to do is send them to this email address, all the details included with the picture. And don't forget the S on birthdays. Birthdays at KOAMnewsnow.com.
And of course, while you're on our website, make sure you take time to sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club. You get great deals from local businesses. You also get a special birthday message from your friends here at KOAM. So head on over to KOAMnewsnow.com, sign up for that birthday club today. All right, let's talk about this forecast. We have alert days today through Friday for temperatures right at or into the lower 100s. Heat index values could be approaching 110 out there. Skywatch Storm Tracker, we have some scattered showers, maybe even a rumble of thunder or two left over from the overnight activity, which is on its way out of here. The other problem we have, though, is we're going to have to be dealing with that excessive heat. Heat advisories for Bourbon, Cherokee, Crawford, and Cherokee counties in southeast Kansas, as well as southwest Missouri through 7 p.m. to Friday. And then for the rest of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, these heat advisories run through 9 o'clock tonight. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line. We are looking good there so far. Still some clouds. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520th Avenue. Of course, that's just south of Pittsburgh. And our camera at 7th and Range Line. Take a look, the sunrise, trying to get through these clouds, but not quite making it yet. We're mostly cloudy, 72, northwest breeze at 8 miles an hour. Our temperatures this morning, warmer than where they have been the last few mornings, but not bad, and not bad compared to how hot it's going to be today. 69 in Iola is one of the cool spots. 74 in Chanute is one of the warmer spots. 72 Parsons, 71 Neodesha, 73 Chitopa, 72 in Miami, 71 Neosho, and sitting at 72 in Carthage. As we get our morning started, take a look. It's going to get hot, and it's going to do so quickly. We got those mostly cloudy skies, some isolated showers still possible out there, but we're going to be pushing 90 by 11 this morning, and that is ahead of highs today, right around 99 degrees. Some of us out to our west could end up reaching into the lower 100s even today. And our heat index values today pushing right around 104, 105 out there. So you've got to make sure you're taking precautions. After the showers clear out, we are looking at partly cloudy skies, and that's still just enough sunshine to give us a very high UV index sitting at a 10. Means if you are exposed or your skin is exposed too long, you're going to burn in about 20 minutes. So make sure you got a hat, sunglasses, sunscreen. Find some shade, limit your time outside. Make sure you're taking care of not just your skin, but you need to be staying hydrated if you've got to be outside as well with this dangerous heat rolling into the area. We'll have another check of your forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The family of a Parsons area murder victim says the Neosho County District Attorney should not prosecute the suspect due to a conflict of interest. Clint and Kimberly Nyberger were arrested on May 8th for the murder of Dakota Patton and are now awaiting trial. On Tuesday, Dakota's family spoke out about Neosho County DA Linus Thuston, who they say has no business leading this case. Traumatic events can lead to PTSD, and for those who suffer, anything can serve as a trigger, even a holiday. With 4th of July around the corner, veterans who suffer from PTSD start getting anxious for the holiday. That happens because as the nation celebrates its independence with fireworks, some veterans are triggered by the sights, smells, and sounds. On Tuesday, Joplin City officials gave residents details on a plan to build a new trail along Tin Cup Creek. The Tin Cup Trail will be a pedestrian and bike trail connecting the St. John's Trail to the trails in McIndoe Park along Shoal Creek. And Frank Fletcher Subaru donates 70 blankets to the Freeman Cornell Bashore Cancer Institute for patients. The fluids used for chemotherapy are cold and can leave the body weak and unable to produce enough heat on its own. Officials say these blankets go a long way to making cancer treatment a little less uncomfortable. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
We've got our alert days today through Friday. Temperatures 99, maybe even some lower 100s out there. Partly cloudy skies, maybe an isolated shower or two in the early afternoon. Our UV index very high at a 10. 20-minute burn time. Make sure you're taking precautions and make sure that you are staying hydrated out there as well. We're looking at mid-70s and partly cloudy skies tonight, lower 100s through Friday. Heat index values pushing up to 110. Maybe a few pop-up storms Saturday, and there's that chance of a pop-up storm or two on the 4th of July, but don't cancel your plans. Just be prepared to cover those fireworks and also be prepared for the heat as we go back into the mid to upper 90s.
I'll be honest, I don't know how I feel about adding the heat index on there. I mean, but we need to prepare people.
We've got to be ready. It's going to be muggy. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be dangerously hot out there.
For sure. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making taco potato salad in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Okay, that sounds pretty good.
It's not even Tuesday.
No, it should have been Tuesday. Tell Mr. Food. Tell Howard.
Get with it, Howard.
Absolutely. Your morning news also continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. It can be tricky for many couples to talk about their finances. Coming up on CBS Mornings, important financial topics you should discuss with your loved one.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, Julie Reams from the Carthage Chamber of Commerce is in studio with us to tell us all about an event blowing up in Carthage for the 4th of July weekend. Red, white, and boom.
Not blowing up Carthage, blowing up in Carthage.
Yes.
It's going to be very exciting. Plus, if you like pie, man, we have a sweet event to tell you about. Kathleen Cowley from the Buyers United Methodist Church is going to stop by to tell us all about a pie sale that you can bet will be super yummy. And the money raised goes to benefit area missions. But that's going to wrap it up for us for now. We will see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.